Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. My name is Michelle Avila, and I'm the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee. Thank you for being here today for the public hearing for the notification of adult use retail cannabis dispensary license applications. I'm going to start off by reading the code of conduct for this public hearing. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and/or ask members of the public to leave a meeting or ban participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive posters or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of this meeting or hearing. The board's executive committee and/or other assigned committee will review repeated offenses and/or behavior and ban the offender for an amount of time determined by the committee. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and authorities shall be summoned. And so today, thanks to everyone that came out despite the inclement weather for this public hearing, we're here today because we have received 2 notifications of adult use retail cannabis dispensary licenses. And since this is a new process for New York State, the community board, we wanted to have an opportunity to hear any public feedback for the applicants and any feedback in general that they would like the committee to keep in mind as we move forward in this process and vote on our recommendation. And so the way that we're going to conduct this meeting, I'm going to start off with a presentation that's going to give some background of the cannabis adult use retail dispensary license applications. And then we are going to look at the 2 applicants with the locations are on the agenda. And that is what we are here commenting on today, the location. We will ask any guests that are here on behalf of the applicants to introduce themselves and say a few words if they wish to, and then open it up to the public for any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay, so with that, for folks that are online, Carla is going to go through the presentation online, but folks will have a packet in front of them. So I'm going to read highlights of this and folks have it in front of them, and it's a lot of information and I want to be cognizant of folks' time. So what is legal in New York State? Possessing cannabis. So as of today, adults over 21 can buy and possess up to 3 ounces of cannabis flower or up to 24 grams of concentrated cannabis that includes oils, tinctures, edibles, and vapes. It can be consumed in a private home or a state licensed on-site consumption site. And as far as we know, currently there are no licensed on-site consumption sites. Vaping and smoking cannabis is not allowed anywhere where vaping and smoking tobacco is not allowed. And so a little bit of background on how we got here, how New York State got here. The Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act was signed into law by the governor in March of 2021. It created the cannabis law and amended other existing laws. The MRTA, abbreviated, makes it legal for adults 21 and over to possess and use cannabis. It expanded the existing medical cannabis and cannabinoid hemp programs, created licenses for adult use cannabis businesses, established the Cannabis Control Board and the Office of Cannabis Management to oversee the cannabis and hemp industries, and set requirements to create a more equitable adult use cannabis market. So, pertinent to us, what is the role of community boards in the process to approve or deny a cannabis license? Per cannabis law, community boards and municipalities are allowed the opportunity to express an opinion on whether they support the Cannabis Control Board's approval of, number 1, retail dispensary sites, number 2, micro businesses, when the micro business is selling in our municipality, number 3, an Article 4 registered organization with a dispensing license. The municipality or community board opinion will become part of the record upon which the Cannabis Control Board shall grant or deny an application for a cannabis license. Community boards do not have a role in other cannabis license types, and the types are listed there. So how do we fit in the process? So people or businesses who apply for a retail dispensary or on-site consumption site need to submit a notification that their proposed location, the premises, is within the boundary of the municipality prior to filing their application. The community board opinion, again, will become part of the record, which the Cannabis Control Board shall grant or deny an application for a cannabis license. Applicants should afford the appropriate amount of time needed for the municipality to opine on the proposed cannabis location. And once the community board receives the notice, we have approximately 30 days to provide an opinion, or can reach out to the Office of Cannabis Management to ask for another 30-day extension. So the next two slides and 2 pages are a little bit more in depth of what the notification to municipalities is. And this is so folks understand how the community board is officially notified. So there's a specific form that an applicant has to use for this process. They have to send it by certified mail with a return receipt, or overnight delivery, or personal service upon the offices of the clerk or municipality. Again, the community board has 30 days to reply to the office with their advisory opinion, and a 30-day extension can be requested if made within the original 30-day timeline. A total of 60 days will be given if the extension is requested. And so an applicant must notify the community board 30 days prior to filing their application. The office, and this is the Office of Cannabis Management. The Office of Cannabis Management does not consider an application for a retail dispensary or micro business filed with the office until the applicant provides proof or control over the proposed retail location. The applicant provides proof of notification to the municipality, and the applicant receives a location determination from the office as to whether the retail location meets the proximity requirements in the cannabis law and corresponding regulations. And there's a little more specific details in the 2 paragraphs below about what the Office of Cannabis Management requires for applicants. And so there are some laws and regulations which limit where cannabis dispensaries can be located. And of note, because this came up during our previous community board committee meeting, public use facilities, there has to be a certain distance. And just to clarify what that means, public use facility means a location or structure owned by a government or government subdivisions or agencies that's accessible to the public, where the primary purpose is to provide recreational opportunities or services to children or adolescents of whom the primary population is reasonably expected to be of 17 years of age or younger. And there below is the proximity to public use facility requirements. There are also some that I'm just going to read out loud here. So, and this is from the Office of Cannabis Management. This is all public information. So zoning restrictions for schools. Retail dispensary premises cannot be on the same road and within 500 feet of a building and its grounds occupied exclusively as a school. Zoning restriction for a house of worship cannot be within 200 feet of a building occupied exclusively as a house of worship. In a town or a village with a population over 20,000 cannot be within 1,000 feet of another retail dispensary, micro business retail location, or ROD retail co-location. And in a town or a city or village with a population less than 20,000 cannot be within 2,000 feet of another retail dispensary, micro business, and retail location. So these are the guidelines set forth by the Office of Cannabis Management. Any questions? Awesome. Okay. So the following is the internal protocol that the committee discussed and approved in how we would be handling the dispensary license application notices that came. So really quickly, in order for an applicant to obtain a letter of support or denial from Bronx Community Board 7, the following requirements must be fulfilled. Applicants must submit all required documents to the community board and present themselves before the Health and Human Services Committee, and attend the executive committee and the general board meeting. There's a list of documents that they need to provide. Process. Once applicants submit a notice to the community board, they'll be asked to complete a questionnaire. The Health and Human Services Committee will review the application. For initial applications, we'll hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing right now. Applicants will be invited to present at the Health and Human Services Committee meeting, and because this is our first one and we're having the public hearing, they do not need to present again during the committee meeting. The Health and Human Services Committee will then vote on a single application by putting a motion on the floor. If the committee votes unfavorably, the district manager will send a letter of objection to the Office of Cannabis Management. If the committee votes favorably, the motion gets to a vote at the executive committee. If the executive committee votes in favor of the motion, it moves to the larger board, the general board, for a full vote. If the motion clears the general board, the district manager will send a letter in favor of the application to the Office of Cannabis Management. And the last two slides are questions and answers. So I just want to read the first one. Well, a couple of them from here. So what can Community Board 7 review? Location, hours of operation. And for hours of operation, we can comment on hours of operation. In New York City, cannabis establishments cannot operate between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. unless they have the community board's written permission to do so. CB7 cannot restrict hours of operation to be less than 70 hours a week. We talked about how much time we have to review applications. So what if we receive multiple applications for a single address? Bronx Community Board 7 may conduct a single application review and submit a single memo of comments on one location based on its appropriateness and relevant condition. And then importantly, does the Office of Cannabis Management require proof of lease or ownership? No. Applicants can apply for a provisional license, and then they will follow up with the Office of Cannabis Management, which will give the applicants 12 months to provide the proof of lease or ownership of that location. Any questions? Carla, any questions from the public so far? So in your public hearing notice, under the agenda, bullet 2B, you'll see that we received two dispensary license applications. One for the location 61 East Kingsbridge Road, Bronx, New York 10468, and the second for Neutral Leaf LLC, 3584 Jerome Avenue, Bronx, New York. And so I'm not sure if we have representatives here. Yes, if they want to introduce themselves and say anything on behalf of the folks they're here to represent and anything in pertaining to their application.
Hi everyone, my name is Jose Núñez, and I'm here representing Jupiter Cafe. I'm one of the board members of the Jupiter Cafe application, and I am here to speak on behalf of our and answer all your questions for us about what we are doing, how we are doing it, and what is our vision for our company and organization, and how we hope to work together with the board and also with the community in this particular.
So, my name is Jose Santos. I want a Caridad restaurant in Green. I have supermarket food, Food Universe, and Bancola and Frederick. I work for the community and the youth.
With that, I will open the floor for questions from members of the public, committee members, folks that have joined online for any general questions or questions based on the locations of the proposed sites. Folks can raise their hand and I can visually see you and I will call on you.
Okay, I do have a question.
Yes.
Well, Jupiter Cafe. Are you gonna at least make sure that, you know, when you do get this dispensary, application, that you will make sure that your marijuana is tested, that there ain't no fentanyl in the marijuana, including dealing with clients that have a cannabis card and clients that don't have a cannabis card? Can you at least guarantee that your marijuana will be coming from a certified distributor? So that way we don't have to worry about people smoking fentanyl and dying in the street.
Thank you for the question. It's very important. So one of the main reasons that we are regulating the marijuana and we are looking for legalization is for accountability and regulation. Because in the illegal market right now, all the people who are selling marijuana illegally in the black market, it is unregulated and nobody can know where the marijuana is coming from. So now growers and micro businesses, they're going to be regulated by the government and taxated as well. So there's going to be accountability and traceability of where the product is coming from. So most of the new applications and licenses of organizations that want to do their organization and formally and legal, that's one of the important point of sales is sourcing for sustainable organic farmers and small farmers as well, because that's also a way that you support families that have been living mostly upstate from the growing of this plant of marijuana.
Okay, are you willing, I just wanna ask one more question and then I'll stop. I just wanted to ask you, would you be willing to put on your product that it has been fentanyl tested, so that way each consumer that comes to your cafe you know where the growers, you know where it comes from, like you took like accountability and measures to put that on your product, so that way if anybody was to ever say, well, you know what, so they have fentanyl testing kits now that you can order online. I don't know if everybody is aware of that. You can order that instead of people having to get 100. Right, you know, wait 2 to 3 weeks or 4 months to mail remove the flow for fentanyl kits. Are you willing to put a label that's back in your company? That way it's already been tested by fentanyl. There's no fentanyl in it, because in this community, due to the illegal dispensaries,
Yes.
people under the age, I'm 37, but there are young people, grown folks that suffer with disease that have caught fentanyl and passed away in the Bronx. And no, it doesn't pop up on the news every day. No, you don't hear about it every day, but this is why I'm asking you, because you definitely seem like somebody that, you know, would be worthy of the application.
Yes.
So that's why I'm asking you, would you be willing to put already fentanyl tested, so that way can't nobody come and say, well, I went to Jupiter Cafe and popped me an ounce, and you know, it wasn't tested for fentanyl. Fentanyl is a big thing that's going around now. So I was just asking to see, would you be willing to go through those measures to put it right there on the product, already tested for fentanyl? That way there is no issue. Jupiter Cafe don't have to worry about a lawsuit. Jupiter Cafe don't got to worry about coming back to Community Board 7 and looking bad, not just for the business, but as an image of you running a cannabis dispensary that serves the elderly, the sick, people with cancer, people that is depending on this as a medicine, even though it's a recreation use.
Yeah, I just say it's a very big issue in the cannabis industry now, the mixing the marijuana with other drugs like fentanyl. And I'm pretty sure, like just many other products in the market and food beverage that have organic fair trade, there's gonna be coming more labeling and more regulation from the, because right now, because it's a very new law in New York, there's so many things still developing as we speak right now, and rules that haven't even come out. So it's pretty sure that the state is gonna ask, or the city is gonna ask them to have some testing. Also, they're gonna be testing of and regulating the source, because we are not, my Jupiter Cafe, we are not gonna be growers, we are a dispensary. So we will be sourcing from the approved and licensed growers, micro businesses, which are allowed to grow indoors, some of them outdoors, and also growers from upstate, most of them.
Okay. Then.
Yes,
So,
and will you answer your question? Yes, we will be willing to label if it is required from the state, of course, and also definitely to show even in our website, in our pamphlet, all information we have, that our product is fentanyl free, of course.
okay, because I'll say, even if you didn't want to do the label, just having some fentanyl testing kits to test, like to even show your employees and those that's going to be under you to test it before leaving the store, so that way it's like, you know, there's no way we could look at Jupiter Cafe and say you're responsible for about 5 deaths in the Bronx community that came because you didn't know the growth. I was just asking.
No, very good question, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We have someone, has a question online.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is AJ Ramos. I'm a resident. I just wanted to say CB7 in the city is literally watching a whole new economy and tax base grow in front of them, and as such should approve both, welcoming the taxes and the future they represent, especially since consumption is allowed anywhere a cigarette is. But the legalization conversation is amazing, and I'm so glad you guys are doing it the proper way. But I would like to ask, will you guys unionize? And I will also ask if you guys are going to name your products, please be inspired by the neighborhood and our unique district and history and use names of the landmarks of streets of our neighborhood, not name the products Sour D or Blue Dream. The Armory and Cemetery are national landmarks located close to both locations. And as such, maybe you could be a little bit more creative and show a little bit more respect to the community. Thank you so much, guys. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. So the question is, will you unionize?
Would you like to, what's the question? You
Well-
would like to unionize, like,
The labor force.
Yeah, will you unionize the labor force?
Your
Your
employees be
labor,
under
your
union.
labor force, yeah.
so, on that behalf, I don't have a right answer for you right now. We are a big group, so that's something that we can look up to give you a correct answer. I wouldn't like to answer with that without talking with my partners. That's one thing. Yes, based on the names, the main honor to some important location of the community. Of course, our name, Jupiter Cafe, it has already a very strong theme of what we want to do and what we want to portray in our products. But definitely, if it's something that the community feels that it will make our representation, having one of our marijuana products named after a leader of the community or a renowned part of the history of the community, we will be more than willing to name at least one, because that's also, if that's what the other community would like and they will buy more because it has the name of someone from the community, why wouldn't do it? We are trying to do here business as well. So we want to improve the sales. We want to work with the community and get acceptance from everyone, even people who do not consume marijuana, because that's part of the business that will thrive in this new legal market. It is someone who is in accordance by the law, and also who is keeping the peace between consumers and non-consumers, which is what one of the questions that I was sending the questionnaire from the board. It was about how we control people consuming the marijuana outside of the store, in front of the store. And for us, that's very important because we know a lot of people who do not consume marijuana. That's bothersome, and for us, that will affect our reputation as a company and organization in the community. And we would like to have a good reputation with the community and our customers as well.
Other questions?
And this is for Nutraleaf. I know you mentioned that you are the owner of Five Lab. This would be a separate dispensary. It wouldn't be part of the rest of it.
No. So they have this is a separate to the restaurant. I'm mentioning Caridad in the supermarket because with this discovery, we know that how we try the community, the people, because recently we introduced to the cannabis. It's because we need to take the bar cannabis in the street and use the legal the cannabis, something to do for the community. That's the thing that we introduced to the cannabis. Now, I know that they're separate business. That is with the restaurant, supermarket, something different.
Oh, I wanted to ask people that cafe another question. If your business, if you start opening up more franchises, would you sit with your partners to come up with a way to unionize the employees so that when they will be protected under the union working for your establishment, your company, so that way?
So again, on the unionized question, I will call you up maybe for our next meeting, or I can answer it to you later. I would like to talk with my partners first on that. That's not something that I deal with, especially. I deal with other parts of the company, and I wouldn't want to give you a wrong answer without consulting my partners.
Any other questions?
No more questions on mine.
For both applicants, what drew you to choose those locations, the proposed location?
The location is for the facility for next to the all the margaritas, so I can work together. And I check the community because the community from the Giron, a lot of people use Bacanabi. And I try introduce something better for them. And maybe we can clean the street in this area.
So we chose our location in Kingsbridge because one of our partners, he already had the lease in the building that we chose, but also because it meets the requirements about 200 feet from the churches or spiritual, as they say, the spiritual locations, and also the 500 feet from the school or any Jew from the institution. And also it's very hard in the Bronx to find a place that is that distance from churches and schools because they're everywhere. So we look around many places. That was the most convenient. It is a very commercial street, so it's not too many residences in that street. It doesn't for us. It's important too because whoever we also don't want to be like selling the market right in a neighborhood where people are like leaving, kids are coming in and out from the house all the time, or because that's the idea of not selling from next to the school is to increase the protection, to be away from children and reduce the risk for them to be exposed to the market because it's like a liquor license, for example. It's the same, they have also similar requirements. They need to be certain distance from one another and from schools and from churches. And the whole idea is that it is a market for adults, but it needs to be sober and streams. Yeah.
Other questions?
That's where, what's been your experience of, that business? What kind of problems is that in the business? Yeah, I'm just wondering if either of you have run a similar type business, you know, anywhere, you know, what's your experience of, you know, running that type of business? Your problems that you ran into.
Yes, because the cannabis are similar to the liquor in the ink. Because before the liquids they can use it anywhere. So when they use the legal liquid, the bad liquid they come out from the tree. We use right now I have liquid. I have a legal license and I have a license. And I know that they're similar. All the cannabis and the liquid have a lot of restrictions. And right now nobody buy the liquid in the street because you can buy any whiskey vodka that they make in the street. You buy the whiskey vodka that comes from the company because this is going to you can use.
Yes, in my case, well, personally, me and family we have this family business restaurant. We do have a legal license that we have managed as well. And I grow coffee in the Dominican Republic, which the model of the business for coffee marijuana is very similar because of the way it's grown, processed, export, and so the process itself, the final product. And also on the managing the cash, which is a big issue in the cannabis industry at the beginning now because it is a state law, not federal law. The state law, the banks are federal. So that brings a lot of issues with banking, even though there are already some ways to secure payments that are electronically. Most of the bonds that we're managing is cash, which is one of the big issues with security. The majority of our board members are veterans, so we have a lot of expertise in what is logistics, operations, and security as well. And that's very key, important for us, any kind of business. Security because of the big amount of cash money that I use.
Other questions? So I have a follow-up question, for both applicants. What tools did you use, to double check the zoning requirements for the location, the proposed location?
Double check for the location, sir?
Yes, and if if you want, I can also translate it in Spanish, my question,
Yes,
if that's helpful.
better for me.
Yes, yes, not a problem. So, ¿qué método usaron para saber si los requisitos que tienen la oficina de Cannabis Management, los 500 pies de la escuela y los 200 pies de la iglesia, qué método o qué
No, no,
Herramienta,
herramienta usaron para calcular la distancia?
ok, yo por ejemplo, yo trabajé con la 64 Square, que ellos chequearon si la locación era apropiada para cannabis. Nos explicaron exactamente, hicimos cursos, tenía que estar a 500 pies de la iglesia. Digo, exacto, ellos chequearon exactamente la locación, que no había iglesia.
Gracias, señor. Lo voy a decir en inglés para que el público que
Okay.
está en Zoom lo oiga. He used 64 Square to check the location to ensure that it meets the requirements. And he referenced also getting some courses that gave him some of the background information on what the requirements were in terms of proximity to some of the locations that the Office of Cannabis Management has talked about.
So we received consultation from one of our property lawyers to help with the lease. Because we had the lease already, but it was for another purposes, it wasn't for cannabis, so we need to renew the lease. So for the use of the location. So there's an application, I don't know the name of the application, but there is an app, there is like a mapping system that give you and it's already used for the OCM, I think as well. It is used to regulate, and a lot of the brokers now in the area, they're using that when you call them and you ask them if they have any properties that are eligible for cannabis dispensaries, they will let you know already if it is or not. When you reach out to any brokers to get properties, they already know which location they have that are eligible, which are not. Which was one of the main issues at the beginning of the process, because we had to look by ourselves. It was like Google Maps in the beginning and like measuring yourself. But now with those apps, and even now the brokers having the information themselves, is makes this more easier.
Thank you. Other questions? Anything from the public?
No, no more questions online.
Carla, if there are no more questions for you, please. Okay. Do you gentlemen have any final statements you would like to say to the community as we consider these applications?
Well, first, I would like to thank all of you for the time and being here with us and accepting our request to present you our company. I think it is a very important step for the community, the state, not only the business, the taxes and the jobs that will be created in the community, and the regulation, which is very important. As I was coming here, I was getting prepared and bringing some information, and like right now we have in the city of New York around 8,000 illegal dispensaries open. And here we have people who would like to do the business right. Also, we never sell any cannabis business. And of course, part of our job, because we would like to work with justice-involved members that have been affected by the drugs of war before, just with marijuana and other type of incriminations. Those are people who, especially in our communities, because it's mostly Hispanic and Black, are 3 times more affected than the rest of the population of New York. And I think that is very important that we take the lead and start this process of legalization and open the conversation of understanding conversation, listening both the users, the business people, and the communities, how we can get along and move along in a way that we can respect our boundaries and how we can all find ways, because I understand a lot of people are concerned for the children, or if this is going to affect increasing the consumption of marijuana in the area, or people are going to be smoking everyone in every place. But many states already have legalized this many years ago, like California, Colorado, Arizona. And you can see the consumption has no increase. The regulation is stronger. And people are required to be ID. I think this brings security to our community. And once people who are using the marijuana already, nobody wants to get fentanyl with the marijuana. Nobody wants to get any other drugs because if whoever is using it, they want to know they're using something that is secure. So this slowly is going to decrease the legal dispensaries that are out there. And instead of making it a fight between the law enforcement and the illegal dispensary, we're just going to use business to reduce the illegal and to use the legal. Because when they start selling less, it's not going to be sustainable, whatever they're doing, they're going to have to get out of the business. And that's what's going to happen eventually. And right now, there's a lot of cases, a lot of effort and energy put from the law enforcement in the city to deal with cannabis industry. And that energy and effort and money could be used for more important crimes that are happening right now in the community that may not be getting as much attention because we have all these little things that have been happening since always. People have been using cannabis. But now, finally, we are getting to a point where we are bringing the topic into the table. I think it's for the health committee that you guys have, I think it's very important as well, not only for the medicinal use, but a lot of research that have been done in marijuana. I am a doctor in the Dominican Republic. I haven't certified here, but I like community health a lot. And a lot of the research that we have in marijuana, we don't have many data because it is illegal. So we don't carry data of people who are using it. We cannot do research, but with legalization, we're going to be able to get real data from people who are using marijuana and see the actual effect on the community and the health. And just like tobacco, if it is results to be unhealthy, it's going to be labeled. It is unhealthy for your use. You all decide if you want to use it or not. Like alcohol, tobacco, but without legalization, we cannot do this regulation. We cannot let people know what is the risk they have by using it, and they cannot make the unique choice of I decide to do this and use this for my own. So thank you for your time.
I said,
Thank you for
Yeah.
the presentation.
sorry. I had one question. I apologize, as you said your thing, and I had a follow-up question. You talked about wanting to work with justice involved people, as part of your business model. Can you share some details about that? What is in the works, or what is it something conceptualized right now?
So, for example, in the States, the first license applications that were released, the priority was given to people who was justice involved. There's already one in the Bronx, South Bronx, it's Combat. He was in prison because of the selling of marijuana. So he is a business person, he was released, and now he has his own license. He already has his thinking about opening his second dispensary in South Bronx as well. And he's doing great. He's done a great job, and he has a fitness organization, and he is hiring people who, like him, they haven't committed any felonies like robbery or high crimes. Just selling marijuana, that's the only crime they have done. But when people have been using it and they have been big politicians or even presidents have used marijuana in the past, but people like him that are in unfortunate conditions, they get to prison. So by getting those people that have wrongly being affected, the lifestyle, the families, by spending time in prison because of selling marijuana, now the government just like I just say that like try to compensate for what they have gone through, then they're giving them the preferences. So we know that in our community in Kingsbridge and the Bronx, we have a lot of people who have gone through that. They have been to prison, or the family members have been to prison because of selling marijuana. If we can prove that they don't have any other felonies or any other cases in them other than selling marijuana, we would like to help them, to find ways to do what they like doing, because they sell it because they like the product. They like selling marijuana, they like to use it, they like to sell it, they know the product, they like the quality. So these are people who have expertise in the product. So we need and we want to give them ways that they can use their talent and what they like and passion in a legal manner. Like that's what this legalization is about. Provide these people a way to do what they like doing under the law.
Right, so have you all talked about, like, what would recruitment look like?
Well, that's something that will come, that's someone else dealing with that part of it. But that is part of our mission. Living Proof, Super Cafe is a doing business as a big umbrella organization, which is Living Proof. Living Proof helped me incorporate my coffee business as an immigrant because it's focusing small business owners and people from disadvantaged community and healthcare. We have done a lot of work in the communities, and not only in the Bronx, but also other parts of New York and even other states. But for now, our main focus and what we're speaking here is Jupiter Cafe. And the recruitment part, there's big people involved in this, it's a big organization, it's not only me. And then there's some things that I wouldn't be able to answer you with specific details. But definitely, we are more than willing to continue the conversation on it and answer any other questions that you have, like that one. Or the unionizing the points. Yes.
How are you? Good morning. We, just to give you some context, so we're wrapping up the public session.
Yeah, I realize that.
But the information is still in your packet, and the committee meeting, we're discussing that application. We will be able to hear the context as well. Yeah.
So thank you for your presentation and for the question. So we work for bring more employees to the community. I have 25 right now. So now we try to bring more business to the community. Right now I have another meeting to buy off with our liquor license segment.
Carla, anyone else? Anything else?
No. No.
Okay. Thank you to the applicant. Thank you to the guests that joined us today. We appreciate your comments. Thanks to the folks that joined us online. And this public hearing is officially coming to a close at 6:30. So we'll take about an 8-minute break. We will begin our Health and Human Services Committee. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night and travel safe.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.